You're now watching Wayback Wednesday, sponsored by Flora's Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
Hello folks, and welcome to another episode of Wayback Wednesday. I'm your host, Randy Adcock. So good of you to be with us tonight. Glad we could be with you and join you for a hot Wednesday night in Rocky Mount. I'm going to tell you, it's on the way over to the city tonight. I looked at the thermometer in my truck and it was still reading 97 degrees. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but it's still mighty warm out there. So I hope you're somewhere cool and comfortable and avoiding this heat. We've got some pictures to share with you tonight as usual. And before we get into that, I just wanted to give a special shout out and a thank you to Mr. Wallace Abernathy. He's one of our regular viewers, and he called me after last week's show and said, hey, I've got some pictures I'd like to share with you. And as always, I love hearing from the viewers and love having people tell us that you enjoy the show. And as I've said over and over again, this show is what the viewers make it, in my humble opinion. And if it wasn't for you guys, this show would be well, not very entertaining, put it that way. So you guys make the show as far as I'm concerned, and I appreciate that. But Mr. Abernathy sent me some pictures of Rocky Mount that he had. It's a sampling, he said, of several pictures, a few hundred, I think he said. And so we're going to start off tonight's show with showing some of the pictures that he sent to share with you. And I'll just throw it out again. If anyone else has any pictures that you would like to share with the rest of the viewers, you can either give me a call during the show at 407-1111, or you can call me after the show on my cell phone at 252-883-1123. We'll set up a time to get together. I'll come by and pick them up and make copies of them and give you the originals back. And I would love to share the viewers' picters in that you have, whether it be family pictures or old pictures of Rocky Mount, anything along those lines. So again, 407-1111 is our number here at the studio, and 883-1123 is my cell phone. So there you go. All right, so these first collection of pictures here are actually, it's about a dozen, I think it is maybe, and these are from the early 1900s around Rocky Mount up to in the 1940s, I think, 42, 47, I think is the latest one I see on the date here. And again, these were some that were shared with us from Mr. Wallace Abernathy, so thank you for taking time to get these to me. He also sent me, and I meant to bring one of those to read, and I'm sorry I forgot it. I'll try to get it by next week's show, but he gave me a 2 or 3 Word document that had some history of downtown Rocky Mount. That was really interesting, and I really meant to bring one of those and read that. I'm sorry I didn't. I apologize for not bringing that with me tonight, but we'll have it next week for sure. But anyway, I tell you what, Lee, if you've got the pictures queued up, let's go ahead and start with the first picture. And this is from Washington Street, downtown Rocky Mount in 1914. And some of these pictures, by the way, you may have seen before. We've actually, some of them I recognize, so I'm not sure how many of them that we've shown in previous shows, but this is one I don't recall seeing. And I was pleasantly surprised to see how much commerce there was going on in Washington Street in 1914. This was obviously a busy section of town. In many ways, it looks comparable to the commerce and the traffic, and especially the foot traffic you would see over on Main Street, 1 block over. So this is at the intersection of Washington Street and Tarboro Street. And I'm going to show you another picture a little bit later on. So keep this image right here in your mind. This is looking south on Washington Street, and Tarboro Street, of course, cuts across right here. This is at the 5 Points intersection. What you're looking at there on the left-hand side is where presently the Edgecombe Community College building and campus and all is. So that kind of gives you an idea of where you're looking at. And as you can see, there were a lot of cars, there were a lot of pedestrians walking up and down the street. And this was in 1914. Rocky Mount was still a small town, but there was a lot of business going on, and especially up and down Main Street and Washington Street, and that whole area downtown Rocky Mount was hustling and bustling. So there you go. Okay, Lee. So let's go to the next picture. This is actually, this picture here is 1940. Oh, we got a call. Let's get this call. Hello there, you on the air?
Okay, that picture you were just looking at of Washington Street, you were standing there in the intersection where the old Pepsi-Cola plant was, looking north towards the Man Gorham drugstore. You can see the angle of the building, the roof profile on the Man Gorham drugstore in the back end of the picture.
Okay, you know what? Go back, Lee, to that prior picture, because I glanced at it, and I guess I was at the wrong intersection. You're saying this is 1 block back from where I was thinking it was?
Right.
Okay, so this is actually 1 block north.
You're at the intersection of South Washington Street and Hill Street.
Okay, I got you. Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, thanks for clarifying that. Appreciate that. All right, we'll see you. Okay, so we actually do have, and we'll get back to another picture of Washington. And again, just at first glance, it looks a lot like another picture I've got, and I'll show you in a minute why I thought this was the same intersection. But in any case, so let's go ahead and lead to the next picture then. This next one is East Main Street, and this was in 1914 also. These first couple here are from 1914, and it looks like this is, it says East Main looking south. So this is on the Edgecombe County side of Main Street, looking south. I'm not sure how many of these buildings are still here, but it looks like I would guess the majority of these are gone now. I'm not exactly sure where along East Main Street this is. It looks like it could be, oh gee, I'm not sure. If anybody recognizes these buildings, that almost looks like the Masonic. Well, no, it wouldn't be the Masonic Temple. Look, this is Main Street, not Church Street. So I'm not sure exactly where this is. It could be down near the Rick's Hotel and the Cambridge Hotel, that area down there. But that looks to be the wrong side of the street for these buildings here. So I'm not sure, to be honest, I'm not sure. It just says it was captioned, as you see at the bottom, East Main Street looking south. Somebody's got an answer for us. Let's see here. Hello there, you on the air? Hello?
Okay, the picture you got right there right now is on the Edgecombe side of the tracks. That building out there in the front that looks like it has the masonry archwork, that later was a part of the first Rocky Mount Fire Department. It's on the Edgecombe side in the 100 block of North Main Street.
Okay. So what's in this
building? That tall building right there that's got that item up on top of the roof, I think I forget what was in there. It was some kind of concert arena or something or other.
Okay. So is this north of the old Rocky Mountain Municipal Building?
That's the same block that the old Rocky Mountain Municipal Building was in.
Okay.
The far end of that block on the left, as you're looking at that picture, is where Epstein's was later built.
I see. Okay. And well, this is 1914, so obviously things have changed quite a bit since then. Yeah, I couldn't quite get a bearing on where this was, but that makes sense. So you're saying further south from this image right here would be where Epstein's was. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
The block that you're looking at right there is the 100 block of North Main Street on the Edgecombe side.
Okay. I got you. So that's down there in the general area of where the Carolina Telephone Building is located.
Right.
Okay.
But on Main Street, not Washington.
Right. Exactly. Yep. I got you now. I know where I'm at now. Okay, buddy. Thanks again here.
All right.
All righty. Okay. Yeah, looking back at these old pictures, sometimes it's really difficult to kind of gauge where you are because there's been so much torn down and remodeled, and a lot of these buildings are long gone now. And so it's always neat to kind of envision what's there now, and then think about how that area has changed and got it 100 and some years since all this was there. All right, let's go to the next picture then. This next one is actually Southwest Main looking north. And this picture was dated 1911. So Southwest Main Street, obviously this would be the Nash County side, looking north. And so I'm guessing we're somewhere in the general area of where the train station is maybe. And on the left-hand side there, it's probably somewhere along Station Square Mall, I'm going to guess. The buildings don't look like that today, obviously, but I'm thinking it's somewhere in the general idea of where we are. The picture was just captioned, Southwest Main looking north. And again, this was 1911. One thing caught my eye about this, but do you see, Lee, you can zoom in a little bit, just to the right of that train car there. It looks to be either a horse or perhaps a mule or maybe even some other kind of animal standing in the middle of the railroad track. I don't know if you can see that or not. But and I could be wrong, it could be something else too, but it looks like some kind of animal standing in the middle of the railroad tracks just to the right of that train. And I was able to zoom in on it on my computer, and it looked to me to be some kind of animal. It's hard to make out for sure in this picture here, but in any case, in 1911, there were certainly still horses around downtown Rocky Mount all over the place, so it very well could have been a horse. There you go, Lee. And then if you would, pan to the right a little bit, and you'll see it almost looks like a cow too. So I don't know if it's a cow or a horse, whatever it is. He's right in the middle of the railroad tracks. He's brave, whatever he is. And it looks like a gentleman over on the right hand side. He's running out to get him and tell him to get off the tracks. I'm not sure there. So maybe it was as you zoom in, it does look more and more like a cow than it does a horse. But it's still. It caught my eye the first time I looked at this picture. I said, that's some kind of animal out there in the middle of the railroad tracks, and I'm not sure what it is. So, all right, Lee. So let's zoom. Let's go to the next picture then. And this next picture is actually Sunset Avenue, and I don't know if you can read that on your screen right there, but I wanted to kind of. I actually took a picture of this and brought it with me. This is looking east in the 100 block of Sunset Avenue in 1900. To be exact, it was numbers 110, 112, and 114 Sunset, and all three establishments were under the management of Mr. J.D. Odom, who was a dealer in horses, mules, vehicles, harness, feedstuff, farming implements, furniture, fertilizer, and general merchandise. He carried it all. The store with the awning still stands today. Now, I'm not sure when this article was written, so this was actually an excerpt from a newspaper article, and I'm not sure when. So these buildings may or may not be still there today. But when this article was written and this picture was in the paper, it says at that time anyway, the store with the awning was still there. It says, and is located for Crawley's Quality Market. While the building to the left of the picture is the location of Blackwood's Auto Supplies, Toys, and Accessories. Immediately beyond the pole to the right is the fire station, the volunteer fire department, and the two-story structure is the Lane Tin Shop, and on the second floor is the newspaper office of the Rocky Mount Weekly Record. Continuing on up the street to the center is the grocery department of the Rocky Mount Supply Company, then Strickland's Bicycle Shop, a barber shop, and the Palace Pharmacy, all frame structures. The Palace Pharmacy was located on the corner of Sunset and Maine, the present location of Standard Drugstore. Now again, I'm not sure when this picture and when this article appeared in the newspaper. I'm guessing probably in the 1940s maybe. Could have been further back than that. But it says the picture is from an industrial edition of the Rocky Mount Weekly Record, predecessor of the Daily Record and this publication. So this newspaper certainly was not the Rocky Mount Telegram, nor the Evening Telegram for that matter. And I'm not sure how long it was in existence, but I've heard of both of these, the Rocky Mount Weekly and the Daily Record, and I want to say they're in the early 1900s up to maybe 1930, 1940. So anyway, all right, Lee, so that was Sunset Avenue, the 100 block in the year 1900. So let's go ahead then to the next picture, and there's in no particular order of these, by the way. This picture here is actually Southwest Main Street, and it's just, on this one the caption was 1920s. So again, the Southwest Main would be on the Nash County side of the railroad track, and I don't recognize any of these buildings, so I'm not sure exactly where we are, just apparently on the Nash County side. And Southwest Maine, again, I'm thinking probably somewhere in the general area of the train station, maybe where Station Square Mall is, and that general area, that being the farthermost point of Main Street on the west side. So, okay. All right, folks, if you got a question or comment, love to hear from you. 407-1111 is our number. We're looking at old pictures. These were provided to us tonight by Wallace Abernathy, and I want to thank Mr. Abernathy again. We've got some more, there's several more of these in this collection here, so we're going to carry on with these, Lee. If you would, let's go to the next one then. And this next one is actually Main Street. It just says Main Street, early 1900s. So, and I honestly have no idea where this is. If I had to guess, I would say maybe South Main looking north, but I don't know. I don't recognize any of these buildings, and the picture was just captioned as 1900s. So if anyone if anyone thinks they recognize anything by this picture here, give us a call, 407-1111, and we'll talk about it further. One thing that I thought was neat about this picture, if you noticed the landscape and the railroad track and the sidewalk, well, where you walk, I guess you'd say, everything's on the same plane. In other words, there's no building up the street yet. Everything is on the same level as it was when the town was first laid out down there, and I thought that was neat. You're literally at the same level of the train, and it was obviously there's a crossing right here you can see, and over the years there have been several crossings that have been done away with from way above north of Rocky Mountain and way south too. So I'm not exactly sure where this was, which intersection this was, but it was early Rocky Mount, early 1900s, how the picture was captioned. So, okay. All right, Lee, the next picture then, if you go to the next one, this is the Hammond Hotel. And the Hammond Hotel, there you go. I've got a little write-up about this one somewhere, at least I thought I did, if I didn't walk out and forget it. Here we go. The Hammond Hotel was just across the street from the passenger station, provided real service and a home for the traveling man between 1880 and the time when it was burned, about 1904. A three-story frame structure of something like 50 rooms with it says a commodious dining room. That's a word I've never heard of before. I'm guessing it's luxurious or large, maybe both, I'm not sure, but a commodious dining room and kitchen in the two-story part of the rear of the lobby, which was at the entrance. The hotel was the center of the transient life of the community, and the post in the front at this, the post in the front of this, about where there is now located the bus station at Matthews Drugstore. And again, I'm not sure exactly when this picture was taken or when this article appeared, and I'm not even sure which paper. It could have been the same one as in the other article, the Rocky Mount Weekly, but it says the hotel was under the management of the Hammond family, and by the way, I'm guessing this is Hammond Street area, obviously, and so the Hammond family ran this hotel, and I'm guessing that's how the Hammond Street got its name. I just put that together right there. Anyway, it says in the earlier days was the home of the late Charlie W. Hammond, leading Main Street grocer, and Mrs. Tom J. Hackney, grandmother of Mrs. Hyman L. Battle and Mrs. A.W. Arrington, mother of Charles H. Arrington, proprietor of the Cameo Theater. The hotel was later managed by Mrs. W.B. Marriott, and then upon her building a hotel at the corner of South Main and Hammond Street, the Hammond Hotel underwent several changes of management, including the late H.H. Griffin. At the time of its destruction in 1904, it was being run by Mrs. Grantham. Picture through the courtesy of Mr. and Mrs. D.M. Pearsall, who lived in the hotel as a temporary home on his removal to Rocky Mount in 1833. So anyway, this was the Hammond Hotel, and I do think we've had a picture of this hotel on a prior show. This was obviously taken from a newspaper, so the picture that we have shown earlier, I want to say it was either from a postcard maybe, or it may have been one of the two collections, either from Bugs Behringer or Charlie Killebrew, but I think this predated either one of those, to be honest. I'm not certain about that, but I'm not sure who would have taken this at the time that this picture was taken. But in any case, this was the Hammond Hotel across the street from the passenger station down there near the train depot today. Okay, Lee, so I tell you what, let's go ahead and take a next picture. And this next one, there you go. Here's one that everybody will recognize, and I think we have seen this picture before too. This is obviously Epstein's. The date on this picture was 1914. Now these pictures, by and large, other than the ones in the newspaper, typically don't reproduce very well. When you try to copy a newspaper image or photograph, it usually gets a little blurry, a little grainy looking. And so this was, I'm thinking, probably a postcard. It's a much clearer quality picture, and some of these are very clear, and you're able to zoom in on them and get quite a bit of detail. This building obviously it looks very much today as it did, and this was from 1914, by the way. This picture was dated 1914, so Epstein was obviously established, it was operational, and it was doing well in 1914 in Rocky Mount. So, okay, Lee, let's go to the next one then. And this next picture was actually dated 1937, and this was, we've actually shown, I don't know if it's the exact same picture, but one very similar to this, but this was when the city lake was being dug out in 1937. At least this picture was dated 37. But you can see they've got a bulldozer out there, and they've began digging out. I'm thinking this is probably looking towards Sunset Avenue. I'm not positive of that, but I'm guessing that the river would be over to your left and the power plant and all that. And I think this view is probably looking in the general direction of Sunset Avenue as it would come by the lake today. So, and this picture, as I said, was actually captioned as 1937. I'm not sure if that's when it was actually taken or when it was identified, but in any case, this is the Rocky Mount City Lake being dug out. Okay, I tell you what, Lee, let's bring it back to me if you would. We've got quite a bit more in this collection. There's probably another, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about another 13 or so in this collection. So we'll take a quick break. If you need to get yourself a cool something to drink, maybe a bathroom break, do those kinds of important business, and we'll be right back with more Wayback Wednesday after these words from our sponsors.
Sponsored by Flores Glass and Mirror Company. Servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
I'm Daniel Moss, owner of Cornerstone Funeral Home, and I'd like to invite you and your family to give our family an opportunity to serve you in your time of need. And we offer a full line of funeral services, everything from visitations to graveside services to cremations on site with a live crematory, as well as a banquet hall to meet the catering needs of our families that we serve. We offer catering service, we offer refreshments prior to visitations and services of our family, and we want to invite you to come and experience the difference here at Cornerstone Funeral Home.
When faced with special care needs for elderly or disabled loved ones, families want compassionate, comforting care. That's Tender Touch Home Care Services' goal, providing the level of care we would expect for our own. With over 10 years of home care excellence, Tender Touch provides an array of services that keeps your loved one at home. From personal care, light housekeeping, errands, and meal preparation to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
We're in our 18th year of practice at the Hammer Chiropractic Center, and we've seen over 15,000 different people in the Rocky Mount area. 40% of headaches actually come from a neck problem. Many patients come in taking multiple aspirin, over-the-counter medications and such a day, and we can get you to stop doing that and actually fix the problem so the headaches don't rise anymore. A lot of people think chiropractic hurts. It does not. Most of the people come in and they feel great when they leave.
You're now watching Wayback Wednesday. Sponsored by Flores Glass and Mirror Company. Servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
And we're back. We're back. Folks, for just tuning in, you're watching Wayback Wednesday. I'm your host, Randy Adcock. So good of you to be with us tonight. We're looking at some pictures that were shared to us this week by Mr. Wallace Abernathy. If you watch the show regularly, you know I quite often will ask if you have any pictures you'd like to share with the viewers. Give me a call. We'll get together and get them. And after last week's show, Mr. Abernathy called and said he had some pictures he'd like to share with the viewers, and I said, great. He emailed them to me. We've got them into the studio's equipment tonight, and so what you're looking at here is a collection of pictures, and there's about, I don't know, a couple of dozen maybe in this particular grouping. And he said he's got several more, but this was just a sampling of what he had. Some of these I had never seen before. Some I think we have shared on the show in prior episodes. But anyway, again, if you've got any picture that you'd like to share with us or share with the viewers, give me a call. 407-1111 is the number here at the station. Or you can call me after hours at 252-883-1123. We'll get together, we'll get your pictures and make copies of them and give you the originals back, and then we'll share those pictures on the air. Okay. So far we've been looking at pictures from the early 1900s, 1900, 1911, 1914, up to 1937. This next picture jumps forward a little bit. Leif, you're going to bring the next one up on the screen. And this is from 1947, this next picture here. And this is actually, some of you may recognize, this is the bus station down on Washington Street. The building itself still looks very much like this today. You know, I have some fond memories of this building when I was in high school and worked at Chipley Lincoln Mercury down on North Church Street. We would quite often ship parts or receive parts that were shipped to us. And back in those days, it was quite common to ship stuff by the bus, Trailways bus. And so part of my job, especially in the summer, because I worked there part-time, and during the school year I went to work in the afternoon, and when school was out during the summer, I worked all day. And so part of my job in the morning, during the summer especially, was to ride over to the bus station and get any new parts that we had shipped into us. And so I made quite a few trips for a couple of years there in a row, in fact, to the old bus station down on Washington Street, picking up parts and shipping out parts too, I might add. We shipped out quite a bit too. And so anyway, but the building is still there, obviously. The last time I was down that way, someone was running some kind of flea market, I think, or thrift store or something in the building. But this is the old bus station, Trailways bus station down on Washington Street, South Rocky Mount. This picture was dated 1947, by the way. Okay, all right, Lee, let's go to the next picture. And this, oh, we got a call. Let's get this call here. Hello there, you on the air? Hello, you're on the air?
All right, that bus station right there looks like to me that it was the old location when the bus station was on the Nash County side of the tracks over there on Coastline Street, kind of block north of where the Rick's Hotel was.
Oh, you think so? You know what? You may be right.
I'll ride down there tomorrow and look at the existing building that's over there on the Edgecombe side. But the way the roof line and everything on that is, see, if you look at it, it looks like it just don't look like looking at the side of it where the bus is pulled in that it is like it was when they built the new bus station on the Edgecombe side of the tracks.
Well, and you know what? You may be right. I tell you what made me think it was the one on Washington Street was, in fact, Lee, see if you can zoom in on that. In the bottom left-hand corner, that may just be a residence. I was thinking that was the train station across the tracks over there. It's what I...
That looks like a house that's got a hip roof on it.
You know what? It very well may be. And if so, that's probably thrown me off.
They changed that. It was bus station was on the Nash County side when I was a real little child in the early 50s.
Okay. Well, then, obviously, this picture was dated 1947, so... it must have been then, as you say, overall. And tell me again now where it was on the Nash side.
It was the little street that was 1 block long that the Sanatorium Hospital was on.
Oh yeah.
Coastline Street.
Okay. All right.
Coastline Street ran from Main Street over to Church Street, and the Sanatorium faced Coastline Street. And that building, the bus station that was on the Nash County side, was up there on the corner of Main Street and Coastline Street.
Okay. Well, that was obviously before my time, and that's probably why I didn't know anything about it. So,
Right.
but
I'll get in a city directory and try to find out. I've got a 37 phone book and a 45 phone book, and in those years, the bus station would have been on the Nash County side,
okay.
right around the corner from the train passenger station.
I got you. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that. I had, honestly, I did not remember. I may have been told and just forgot, but I didn't remember that there was a bus that's never been on the Nash side. So if, in fact, it was, and that's where this building was, on the Nash side then. Okay, buddy. Thank you here. I appreciate it. Okay. You know, I said before, and every week I learn something, and that's one of the great things about this show. If you love history and you love Rocky Mountain history especially, you'll learn something every week on this show, because just like this, I didn't realize there was a bus station on the Nash County side. If I had, I'd forgotten it if I ever was been told that. But in any case, I hadn't been down there recently, and so it's very likely that this, as he said, was the one on Nash side. So, okay, all right, Lee, let's go to the next picture then. This next one does not have a date on it, but this is obviously wherever City Lunch on the left-hand side of the screen, the Bluebird Taxi, and this is over there at South Maine near where Marigold Street crossed the railroad tracks, just after you cross the tracks on the right-hand side. The partial walls of this building, these buildings I should say, there's actually, I think there was 2 or 3. I think it was a taxi getting to end and the City Lunch, and I want to say there was one more business in here for a while anyway. But anyway, the walls of this are still standing, or at least they were the last time I was down that way. I've not been down there recently and looked. But in any case, this, just looking by the cars, I'd say early 1950s. This particular picture did not have a date on it, so it just said Bluebird Taxi. But anyway, I was down this way last year, and if you remember, we had a discussion one night about railroad spurs and tracks, and there was a spur that went behind this building here. All right, let's get this call. Hello there, you on the air? Hello?
Hello?
Hello there.
Okay. That building where the City Lunch is and the Bluebird Taxi Cab Station stand, but right behind those 2 buildings, there's still evidence of a spur track where the Atlantic Coastline Railroad used to shove boxcars down there behind those buildings and across Marigold Street to the George S. Edwards Wholesale Grocery Place that faced Marigold Street on the other side of Marigold Street from where these 2 buildings are.
Okay, that's right. I've seen that track. I went down there actually and found
these 2 buildings right here were right straight across Main Street from where that steam locomotive was turned over at the spur station.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think, I don't know if we're going to get a chance to get to it. Yes, as a matter of fact, I think that's coming up in another couple of pictures, because there were a couple of pictures of that locomotive rollover from 1942. So that's coming up in just a couple of pictures here. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay, buddy, appreciate it.
All right.
We'll see you. Okay. All right, Lee, so let's go to the next one then. This next picture is actually the old Rocky Mountain Airport down on North Church Street, and this picture was dated 1936. And so there you go. And this is a very similar, it's got a flying saucer there on the left-hand side of your screen. I just noticed that. I hadn't realized we had aliens landing in Rocky Mountain in 1936, but apparently they buzzed the airport that day anyway. Not sure they landed, but there's obviously the flying saucer there. So anyway, this was the old Rocky Mountain Airport over on Church Street across from what used to be the Hardee's building, obviously. Now it's an athletic field over there. I have some fond memories of this airport, being out here as a child, going out there on Sunday afternoon and watching the planes take off and land. And so now it's going to bother me until I find out what that flying saucer is in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. It may be a glitch or some kind of defect on the picture itself, but anyway, we'll call it the flying saucer for now. Let's see if I can come up with a better reason for that image being there. We're going to call it the flying saucer. Okay, Lee, let's go to the next one then. And Eric, a moment ago, mentioned the train rollover on the tracks. This was in 1942. It was an ACO railroad car that rolled over. and you can see the Rick's Hotel in the background there. I think that might be, I'm not certain, that might be the Cambridge Motel maybe, right there in the center of the picture at the top in the area, we're close to the Rick's anyway. But obviously a crowd of folks had gathered around, a lot of bikes, there must have been kids around there too. But this was, again, January the 22nd, it says, of 1942. And there's two pictures that are almost identical. But Lee, you go ahead and let's show the next picture too while we're looking at them. I think they're very similar if I remember when I was scanning through these earlier. This is just a broader angle from a different angle actually. I think this looks like maybe from across the street, entirely different angle now that I see. But obviously a bunch of folks that came out to look at it. I don't know if there was, I don't recall hearing the cause of this. I don't know if there was something on the track or a malfunction in the train itself. Maybe someone knows. Let's get this call and find out. Hello, you're on the air.
Okay, well, if you look right over where all those cars are at the top of the picture, you're looking at the front of the City Lunch and the Bluebird taxi cab station.
Okay.
Right off to the left, across the street, that is where the George S. Edwards wholesale grocery business was. And it looks like a narrow alley right through there where there was a service station on the corner down there on Washington Street in Marigold, and it was just big enough for a boxcar to be carried down there by the railroad. George S. Edwards Wholesale Grocery is what that building is with the three windows facing Marigold Street.
I see it, I do. And you say the little train spur ran between that building and the other building?
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
Behind the City Lunch, you can still go back there and see the rail and the evidence of where that spur track come off the main line up there in front of the Rick's Hotel and whatever. Just north of the Main Street side of Dillon Supply's current building.
Right. Yeah, I've been over there and seen that track. I actually, when we brought this up on a prior show, and I went over there then, and I found, as you said, that there is remnants of that spur track still down there behind the old City Lunch building. So you're right, it's still there, parts of it anyway. Eric, have you ever heard anybody say how this train came to have this rollover?
I don't know where it was a broken rail or whatever. There was not another piece of equipment involved in it that would have. Where a collision took place, I think the rail broke or something and it just rolled over.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Okay. All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, this was 1942. January the 22nd, 1942 was the date on these two pictures. So I'm assuming that the wreck happened somewhere in that time frame. Okay, Lee, let's go to the next one then. And then we're going back in time to 1914, and this is Sunset Avenue looking west from the railroad track. So that would be the People's Bank there on the left-hand side. I guess what was most recently Towel Town or Belt Towers on the right-hand side. I think I'm right there, if I got my right intersection there. And this was obviously facing west, and this picture was dated 1914. It's hard to tell from this picture, but I don't think these streets were paved then. I'm not exactly sure when downtown Rocky Mount got paved streets, but I'm not positive. They may have been paved now, but I'm not sure whether or not they were paved in 1914. Maybe someone else knows. Let's see here. Hello there, you're on the air.
Okay, that's the intersection of the railroad tracks looking west, with the building on the left being the Planners Bank building, and the building on the right-hand side would be the corner there where Baldwin's was later built.
That's right.
New facade and whatever. The steeple back there at the background is going to be the steeple of the old First Methodist Church.
That's right. That's right. I think I said people, but you're right. That is Planners. I recognize the structure.
County side.
Yep, you're right. You're exactly right. Okay. All right, buddy. Thanks again. Okay, so that was 1914 Sunset Avenue, looking west. Okay. All right, Lee, let's go to the next one then. And this next one, it was actually dated 1906, so this is going back a ways too. And this one says the first block of Sunset Avenue was unpaved. J.D. Odom owned the 3 stores shown. So this was, I guess the 100 block of Sunset would be down there at the intersection of Church Street and of course Sunset. And so I'm guessing, we talked last week about a Colonial store being along here, and then Chipley Lincoln Mercury, and then the Masonic Temple. If that's where this is, and I'm thinking it may be, I'm not positive, hard to tell from this picture. That doesn't look like the Masonic Temple building as I remember it, but I'm thinking this is Sunset. I'm not sure. Let's see. Eric will know. Hello there, you're on the air.
Okay, you're in the middle of Sunset Avenue, right there, just west of the railroad tracks, where those 2 tall buildings are down there. They would be the back side of where the Baldwin store later got redone. In the extreme left-hand margin on the picture is where that alley is that goes off of Sunset Avenue to go north up there towards PNC Bank's main building.
Okay, so tell me again, this is where out on Sunset?
This is in the 100 block of Sunset Avenue, right near where Howard Street comes out there and dead ends against Sunset Avenue.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I got you now. This was not too far from the Center Theater, was it not?
But way before the Center Theater was ever built. The Center Theater didn't ever open until 1936.
Right, but I'm just saying this is the same general area, was it not?
Same block, just up closer to the railroad tracks.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, no wonder this didn't look like what I was expecting it to be, because I was on the wrong street. It is Sunset. I was thinking Church Street, but yep, this makes sense now. Sure does. Okay, buddy. I appreciate you here. Thanks again. All right, I tell you what, Lee. Let's bring it back to me. Let's take another break here. I've got some more notes here. We've got about another half a dozen or so pictures in this grouping here, and then we've got some more that are just random pictures that I've managed to pull before tonight's show. So anyway, let's we'll grab a quick break, folks, and we'll be back in a few minutes with more Wayback Wednesday. Don't go anywhere.
You're now watching Wayback Wednesday, sponsored by Flora's Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
I'm Daniel Moss, owner of Cornerstone Funeral Home, and I'd like to invite you and your family to give our family an opportunity to serve you in your time of need. And we offer a full line of funeral services, everything from visitations to graveside services to cremations on site with a live crematory, as well as a banquet hall to meet the catering needs of our families that we serve. We offer catering service, we offer refreshments prior to visitations and services of our family, and we want to invite you to come and experience the difference here at Cornerstone Funeral Home.
When faced with special care needs for elderly or disabled loved ones, families want compassionate, comforting care. That's Tender Touch Home Care Services' goal, providing the level of care we would expect for our own. With over 10 years of home care excellence, Tender Touch provides an array of services that keeps your loved one at home. From personal care, light housekeeping, errands, and meal preparation, to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
We're in our 18th year of practice at the Hammer Chiropractic Center, and we've seen over 15,000 different people in the Rocky Mount area. 40% of headaches actually come from a neck problem. Many patients come in taking multiple aspirin, over-the-counter medications and such a day, and we can get you to stop doing that and actually fix the problem so the headaches don't rise anymore. A lot of people think chiropractic hurts. It does not. Most of the people come in and they feel great when they leave.
You're now watching Wayback Wednesday, sponsored by Flora's Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to Wayback Wednesday. During the break, we had a caller call in and said he had a little bit of information to share with us about the train rollover that happened in 1942. He said there was and it's probably the same spur section that we were just talking about that went over toward the City Lunch and Edwards Grocery and crossed Marigold Street and back over that way. But he said basically the train hit that section of the track where the spur was there, and I guess either the mechanisms that make the train be able to switch from the main track to the spur track may not have been fully engaged one way or the other, but something happened there where that spur shot off, and that's what caused the train to roll over. So it was barely moving, like 5-6 miles an hour, something like that. And so anyway, that would explain why there's no major damage there. It just wasn't moving very fast when it made that rollover there. So anyway, okay. Tell you what, Lee, let's jump back into pictures. Let's go to the next one. And I think we're 1916 with this next picture. And this is that's the last Sunset Avenue. Here we go. And I'm not sure about this. I remember seeing it. I guess this is what got me confused earlier about the other picture on Sunset Avenue, because I knew I had seen a picture of Masonic Temple. I had that in my mind. Obviously, this is the Masonic Temple building, and it says Rocky Mount, North Carolina. This picture was actually dated 1916, and this is a 3-story building. So, but I seem to recall, maybe someone else remembers this too, but I seem to recall hearing about the Masonic Temple originally being over somewhere on Main Street, or North Main, I want to say, in fact. So I don't know for sure whether this is the actual Masonic building today, and the location is today, or whether this was the original location over on Main Street. It's just, the caption of the picture just said, well, it does say Second Masonic Temple. That's actually, and I've got 2 pictures of this back to back, and I actually got them out of order. This one is 1916. And Lee, let's go ahead and go to the next picture, and we'll compare the two. They both say, we got a call. Let's get this call. Hello there, you on the air?
Okay, that's the picture of the old Masonic Temple before the one on Church Street was built next to Flake Chipley.
Right, okay. And this was on North Main Street, was it not?
That's right, in the same block that Epstein's was in.
There you go. And I think the next picture is actually a picture inside. Lee, let's go to the next picture. And there you go. This is actually inside the Masonic Temple. And it was obviously a pretty swanky theater back in the day. This was in, this second picture was actually dated 1907. That first one we were just looking at on the outside was dated 1916.
Right.
And I dare say it probably didn't change very much in those 9 or 10 years between 1907 and 1916. But in any case, this was a picture.
I think really that the older picture of the first Masonic Temple, the building was probably still standing and had that identification associated with it. But the one that was on Sunset Avenue, I think, was built right after the turn of the century. S.S. Toller, the general contractor, was who built it. Mm-hmm. And the closing days of that job getting completed, somebody fell off of the roof of that thing and was killed.
Wow, you mean the one on Church Street?
Right, the Masonic Temple that was on Church Street, there was a fatality where somebody fell off of the roof of that place right about the time it was getting completed.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, buddy. Thanks again here. All right, have a good one. Okay, so anyway, and these pictures were subtitled Second Masonic Temple, so I guess it's possible there may have even been a third one that predated this one here. I'm not certain about that, but 1907 and 1916 were the dates on these 2 pictures we're looking at now, the outside and the inside. And they're identified as the Second Masonic Temple. So I'm going to have to do a little research and see if I can find out whether, in fact, there was another Masonic Temple prior to this one that was over on North Main Street. There may have been. There may have been a smaller one, and then it was replaced with a larger one, and then, as Eric just said, it later was rebuilt, or another one was built over on Church Street, where the one that we all recognize now as being Masonic Temple is currently situated. So, okay. All right, Lee, let's go to the next picture then. This next one is actually on East Main Street, looking north, and this, of course, would be on the Edgecombe side of town. And I think, I'm not sure, I believe that about, I don't know, on the left-hand side of your screen there, I tried to zoom in on that. I think that says Epstein. So I think they moved. I'm not certain about that. This was dated 19, well, actually this one does not have a date on it. I see a horse and buggy out front, so I'm going to guess early 1900s anyway, 1905, 1910, perhaps somewhere along in there. But in any case, it just says East Main Street looking north. But that marquee or banner off the front of the building there, just behind that gold looking, whatever that is, looks like to me it says Epstein. So I'm guessing Epstein was further north and then later perhaps acquired that building on the corner and moved into it. I'm just guessing there, but it looks like that sign does say Epstein. It's obviously not on the corner in this picture, so it makes me wonder if it in fact was in one spot and moved later on. So anyway, all right, Lee, let's go to the next picture then. This next one is actually dated 1912, and there's two. This is the black and white picture, and obviously it says Kaiser's Drug down the right-hand side. The picture is captioned Railroad Street, now Main Street, in Rocky Mount, circa 1920. The main line of the Atlantic Coast Line Railroad bisected downtown Rocky Mount. So that's the caption on this picture, and this says circa 1920 on the picture. Oh, we got a call. Let's get this call. Hello there, you on the air?
Okay, the tall building back there in the background right there that's got that aperture up on the top of the roof.
Mm-hmm.
I always understood that building that was an opera house, and that picture that you just showed, it looked like it had theater seating in it. That is the building. Those two buildings are one and the same, and I think that's the location where Rocky Mountain City Hall had their first location.
That would make sense. It looks to be about that part of the block. Yep. And I'm wondering if maybe, because these pictures were identified, when they were sent to me, they were identified as Second Masonic Temple. Right. So I'm wondering if maybe it was moved from the original spot to this spot over on Main Street, and then from there over to Church Street.
That's right.
And so
it could have been where it had a dual function. It could have been the Masonic Temple.
Exactly.
It also could have been used as what I've always heard was an opera house, like a theater.
Right, exactly. And I think you're right about that. I seem to remember hearing something along those same lines. I think you're very likely correct in what you're saying there. That makes sense to me too. Okay, buddy, thanks again here. Okay, so the next picture, Lee, is I think the same general area. It's just there you go, just a more colorized picture, a little clearer, in fact. We've figured out a couple things over the last several months of doing this. Sometimes these older pictures, if you can get your hands on the original and you can blow it up and then reproduce it and print it off as a color picture, the clarity and the detail is much better than it is if you try to blow it up and print it off as a black and white picture. Most recently, and I meant to bring that tonight, and I apologize, I forgot it. But if you remember from last week's show, there was a picture of the Brattleboro men's baseball team from, 1948 or so, somewhere along in there. And I managed to get my hands on the original. Bob Merritt found the owner of the original picture, a little 3x5 picture. And so I scanned that thing with my scanner at a 1200 DPI resolution, and I could blow it up to an 8.5 by 11 page size. And when I printed it off as a black and white picture, the quality was really kind of grainy, and it just didn't look great at all. In fact, it looked very much like these pictures that you see taken from a newspaper. But at Bob's recommendation, in fact, he said if you'll try printing as color, it'll be a little clearer. And sure enough, same exact picture. When I printed on my color LaserJet printer, it looked very much like this picture right here. The quality was much crisper, much clearer. And so if you can get your hands on one of these old pictures that is, even though it's black and white, obviously there was no color back in these days, but if you can get your hands on one of these and reproduce it and print it off as color, you can get some really good detail and really good clarity on some of these really, really old pictures. Now again, this picture was identified as circa 1912. Now, it may be 1915, 1920, we're not exactly sure, but sometime in the early 1900s, as you can see, it's really good clarity on this picture here. Same image as the black and white picture we showed you a moment ago, but this has just got a much better tone to it, much easier to pick out individual buildings and individual spaces. So just a little tidbit of information there that we've kind of found out by playing with these old pictures over the last year or so. Okay, Lee, let's go to the next one. I think there might be one more in this Kaiser drug sequence. I think there was 3 of them. And you can see right here, prime example what I'm talking about. This is an old black and white picture, obviously, and it tends to be a little grainy, a little hard to pick out the individual buildings, hard to really make. Obviously, we were talking about paved streets a while ago. This was dated 1909, and these are obviously dirt streets still downtown Rocky Mount. This was Main Street, and it was still dirt in 1909, and I'm guessing probably up until maybe the 1920s or later before streets got paved down there. But anyway, this is the same image, same area, of course, and just a little bit earlier time frame, I think. So, okay. All right, Lee, I think we got time for 1 or 2 more. This next picture was one I had to spend a little bit of time researching because I honestly did not remember this, and I'm sure some of you will know it immediately and recognize it immediately. But this was the old Seaboard Loans building, and it was down there at 5 Points. Oh, we got a call. Let's get this call. Hello there, you on the air?
Okay, in the 1945 Carolina Telephone Directory, the bus Union Station listing states that it is located at South Main Street and Coastline Street. That would be on the corner right there where the concourse is now. The passenger station where Coastline Street come off of Main Street and was 1 block long, and it ran over to Church Street in front of the Sanatorium Hospital. Okay.
So that picture we showed earlier, the bus station there, must have been on that Coastline Street and not over on Washington Street.
This is stated in the 1945 Carolina Telephone Directory.
Okay. All righty. Thank you, buddy.
All right.
All right. Okay, this building here, real quickly, this is our last one for the night. This is the Seaboard Loans building. It was on the corner of Washington Street and Tarboro Street, currently where the Edgecombe Community College is. And it says door to the left. I was able to zoom in on my computer in my office, and Dr. H.R. Williams, who was an optometrist, had an office here. To the left of Dr. Williams' office was the Rocky Mount Hatchery, and it says on the glass, it says baby chicks. Around the corner on South Washington Street was Walter Mears Television, who was at 112 South Washington Street. And then next to Mears TV was the Royal Clothing Company, which was 118 to 120 South Washington Street. I'd forgotten about this building. I don't recall this being in existence. So sometime prior to Edgecombe Community College being built, obviously they raised all this down here and tore all this stuff down and put the college there. But this was a neat old building, and I'm not sure when this picture was taken. I'm guessing just by looking on those cards, I would say sometime in the mid-1950s, perhaps late 50s. But anyway, Lee, bring it back to me. Folks, that's going to do it for us tonight. We've run slam out of time. We had some more pictures to show you, and I apologize we didn't get to them. But tune in next week. We'll have more pictures, and we'll go back and look at some more old Rocky Mount. In the meantime, have yourselves a great week, folks. Take care of yourselves and be kind to each other. We'll see you next week with more Wayback Wednesday. Good night.
You're now watching Wayback Wednesday, sponsored by Flores Glass and Mirror Company, servicing the area since 1977 with residential and commercial work.
I'm Daniel.